Hello and welcome to Scrolling with Ceazor. Today is February 17th, 2026. I got a lot of news for you today to go through. As always, this is not financial advice. This is my own biased opinions based on the tweets that I have selected. So let's start with a quick look at the charts. It's crabbing along again as usual, as it has been for the past few days. A little bit down today, but recovered and it's down. But it's still down, but my LP on carbon looks pretty good. I might adjust, but I probably won't. Gold is also sitting at a pretty decent position for me. Yesterday I did talk about kind of rebalancing and pulling this down a little bit. I'm still thinking about it. I might open this up and pull it out of a concentrated liquidity position and kind of just give it a nice two range orders, but I'm still thinking about it because I don't know what's going to happen. Anyhow, you can kind of do what you got to do and check it out. But let's kind of talk a little bit about some of these tweets. So the first one I'm going to go through today is Liquidity. Liquidity is the Bold stablecoin. I do have Liquidity as a sponsor, so I really enjoy this project too as well. I use it myself, but this is one of the things that I really like about Liquidity is right here. They explain what this thing is here. So Liquidity version 2, this version here, has a little bit of governance to it, but it's pretty on-chain and automated for the most part. So basically what they are doing is, as you can see here, it says Liquidity denotes 25% of its revenue. So basically when you mint Bold, which is a stable coin, 25% of the cost to mint, the APR, basically the interest that you're paying on it, 25% of that is taken and used to give to the Bold Liquidity. So if you stake Liquidity, then you can vote on the pools that currently have Bold LPs, and you can send LPs to those pools, and you'll be paid in Bold. So, for example, on Curve USDC, Bold USDC, if you go there and you provide liquidity to this pool, then you'll get paid CRV because of CRV's liquidity system, and you will also get paid actual Bold tokens. So if we go to Curve, let's quickly check it. Curve, and let's go to pools. Let's search for Bold, and of course it doesn't. Oh, I'm on Fractal, that's why. So mainnet, Bold, pools, Bold. As you can see, this pool right here, you can see it gets a little bit of CRV because of just voting power on that, as well as like 6% in Bold. So you're getting like roughly about 7.5% APR in Bold, in CRV, as well as Bold for providing to Bold USDC. Now Bold, some people think, well, Bold is a DeFi stablecoin. How do I get it? Anyone can take Bold and redeem it for Ethereum or any of the assets that back it. Ethereum staked Ethereum, Lido staked Ethereum, and Rocket Pool ETH. So it's a pretty low risk one. Like every Bold is backed by Ethereum. Liquidations happen if the Ethereum goes down too much, of course, but for the most part, if you have Bold, you can always redeem it for Ethereum in the system. Okay, so you can check it out. I think this is kind of cool. This is the thing I like, is that like this thing is pretty automated. You can go to Dune dashboard and you can check everything out. The Dune dashboard is linked here and so forth. But I really like the way the kind of system works because it's simple. It's not cumbersome. It's not, you don't have to worry too much. It's not like a token. It's not like they're buying back tokens and sending tokens. It's just US dollars. It's just like, let's just give the liquidity providers more US dollars, and you can provide to that, and then you can fold it in. And there are also, yield aggregators, so stuff like Yearn, where you can deposit this Curve into the Yearn pool, and they'll auto compound that in for you if that's something you want to do. Okay, so check it out. Okay, moving on. Here we have an article by Let's Get On Chain. It's a pretty good read. I read through it and there's a lot of stuff in it, but it does talk a little bit about like liquidity profitability methodology. So he's talking a little bit about like impermanent loss as well as rebalancing. Now I do quite a bit of liquidity provision. I think it's a fantastic way to manage my portfolio. I will not say that I track profitability extremely closely, especially to the extent that he's talking about in this video, in this article. But he's not wrong. Okay, so. But basically what he says for the most part is that like, you know, like using LVR. LVR is like loss versus rebalancing. So in the current paradigm, there's a lot of concentrated liquidity and you need to rebalance a lot. So for example, here, if the price were to go below here, I would be getting nothing in fees, and then I would have to consider rebalancing. Okay, I think, you know, for people who provide liquidity, rebalancing a really tight range to try to farm as many fees as possible is very, very hard to be profitable. There are some protocols out there that do this in an automated algorithmic way, but like when there are huge red candles, like something like this, where it's just like red candles, and it just keeps pushing out of range, then you are in essence buying high and selling low quite a bit. And then also when it starts, you know, jacking through the top, you're buying, you're basically, yeah. So anyways, so buying high and selling low a lot of the time. So I think rebalancing is pretty tough, and I don't think trying to stay within a tight range to get that huge APR is a very good idea. So I agree with him that, like, you know, we shouldn't be using LVR as much as a measure of profitability. And then he also talks about impermanent loss is not a great thing about liquidity as well. But I believe that impermanent loss is a null thing. It's not something you should be thinking about when you are providing liquidity, because impermanent loss is basically a measure of the ideal situation. So it's comparing your results to an ideal situation, and no one will ever have that ideal situation. What I think is more important is to set liquidity pool concentrated liquidity pool ranges so that you take the emotion out of your positions. You basically set goals that are automated and that are going to execute however you feel, no matter what. So for example, if I kind of open this up and kind of explain to you, like right now I have some WST ETH and SUSD in this pool. So you can kind of think of it like ETH versus US dollars, right? So I've put some ETH in here, and basically at this point, I want to have sold all this ETH. So this is me trying to call the top at least somewhat, okay? Whereas if I were to just hold the WST ETH, and then it goes up to the top here, I could sell it all at the top and I would make more money. But when you're holding that token and it comes here, you always feel like, oh, it might go higher, so I'm not going to sell it yet, or I'll sell a little bit, but not all of it. Whereas when I set these goals, I know in my mind that if it goes at the top of here, then I've sold all the stable coins. I'm not going to buy back right away. I will wait for dips to come back down, and maybe I'll re-enter the market at that time. But this is kind of the way I look at it. Like, you can't really think about, oh, the impermanent loss. If I had held it to here and sold here, I'd be making so much more money. Because no, what you want to do is you'll never be able to know if this is the top. The top might be here. The top might be up here. You never know when the top's going to come. So what I find concentrated liquidity does very well for me is it allows me to set my goals and then remove my emotional reactions to those goals. Now, I do sometimes readjust and rebalance because especially when it's coming down and it's crabbing along. I kind of feel like I want to, but I do have a liquidity position on ETH that's like sitting like somewhere way up in the top, like because I had bought the top up here and I had provided liquidity here, and it's come down out the bottom of my range, and it's sitting in interest-bearing stablecoins, so I'm getting interest on my stablecoins. However, it's way below the price where I entered that I rebought that ETH, so I just leave it there. I just left that liquidity position there, and then I know if it goes back out the top of that position, then I have been profitable. And all the while I'm getting APR on those stablecoins that are sitting in there, or in this case it's a WST ETH or Coinbase ETH or something like that, sitting up at the top waiting to be resold. Okay, so this is why I really like concentrated liquidity. I don't think of concentrated liquidity as I am a market maker trying to get as much fees as possible. The fees are just kind of a perk, which is a benefit to me, whereas I'm a trader. I'm like, I bought here and I want to sell up there. But while I'm kind of in this range, I can possibly get some fees. Okay, so this is kind of how I look at it, which is a little bit different than Let's Get On Chain is talking about here. But this is a good article. Okay, it's worth reading, and he's completely truthful. Like it is completely accurate, and I would read it. Okay, I would suggest you to read this article, especially if you are new to it. Now, if you do have questions for liquidity positions, the kind of stuff I do, feel free to reach out to me. My DMs are always open, and you're always welcome to DM me about stuff. To kind of talk a little bit about that, I do have a Patreon page called Ceazor Snack Sandwich, where you can kind of, if you are a listener to my podcast, you can go here to support me if that's something you want to do. Consider it a donation. Don't consider it like you're paying for some extra perks, because I don't give a lot of perks to the Patreon people. It's more like you are just supporting me. And like I said, my DMs are always open anyways. So I don't feel I'm too busy to talk to people that I need to make people pay to talk to me, to filter them, right? So anyhow, that's that. So you can, if you are considering trying to support me, you can use Patreon. You don't have to tell me who you are. You don't have to connect your Patreon email to your X account or your Telegram account or what have you. You don't have to do that. And this podcast does have a few small project sponsors, which I've disclosed already, and you can find those. I'll put a post on the Patreon page as well to kind of talk a little bit. I'm not going to tell you exactly how much they paid me, but I can say that I have been sponsored by a few select protocols that I decided are good protocols to have support. Okay, so here's a post by Bancor talking about Carbon DeFi and some of the benefits of Carbon DeFi. I really like Carbon DeFi, and that's what I use for my concentrated liquidity positions on mainnet, and as well as some range orders and stuff like that. I do have a video on my channel about the Carbon DeFi, if that's something you want to check out and to understand. I would highly suggest you to try it out. Here is the video here, Carbon DeFi, this one right here. You can check it out and find it. Now the front end is significantly different than in that video, but the contracts are the same, right? So some of the things that you get from this is first of all, you get 100% price certainty. So you'd set the prices that you want to sell things. It's like limit orders, right? You're immune from sandwich attacks because your price is certain. You can combine any two standard ERC20 tokens. Just don't do rebasing stuff, right? And built-in solver systems uses chain-wide liquidity to help efficiently fill orders and keep strategies. So basically, they have a bot that is rebalancing and trying to keep your liquidity the same as other liquidity on chain, because sometimes people swap on Uniswap, or they swap through a DEX aggregator that does not integrate Carbon DeFi's pools, because Carbon DeFi's liquidity is quite unique and novel. Okay, so anyways, you can check it out. I think it's worth it. It's a very good protocol for using for being a maker of liquidity. So providing selling sellable tokens. Is saying I want to sell my tokens here, and then that's what you get. Okay, so moving on. Okay, here we have Jordy from Cryptoland again. As always, he's got a pretty good article. You can check it out. He's talking about Hyperliquid's HIP4, which basically is going to add prediction markets to Polymarket, prediction markets to Hyperliquid to compete with the other prediction markets out there. Now, the main narrative here is that you will unsegregate your capital. So instead of putting some capital in Polymarket and some capital in Hyperliquid, you can have the same margin account and do both kind of gambling, right? I'm going to call it gambling because that's what I believe it is. Okay. Now, there are some people who are using it to hedge things like, oh, I'm going to hedge whatever, like cost of electricity because of weather or something like this, right? So anyhow, there is that possibility, but what is missing, I believe, from Hyperliquid is interest bearing. So if you go to another protocol, I do have a video on this as well, or I've talked about it in the past, I can't remember. It's called Truio. Okay, so here it is, Truio Lottery. I'm part of the testers here. But if you go to Truio, there is this true yield dollar. Okay, so you can deposit USDC and get true yield dollar. And it's currently giving about 3%, 3 to 4%, and this is powered by Yearn. So it's a Yearn Vault token, and you can use this to bet on prediction markets on Truio. So stuff like, Morpho exploited for 5 million or more in 2026, yes or no, right? So and if you provide limit orders, you're also going to get some OP rewards. So here is an example of what I think is more capital efficient. So you're actually using interest-bearing stablecoins to bet on things instead of just using stablecoins. So that's what I think is missing from Hyperliquid. Now, I am biased of Hyperliquid. I want Hyperliquid to succeed. I have Hype tokens. I have staked Hype tokens, and I'm providing liquidity on Ramses on Hyperliquid. So I want Hype token to pump a little bit. So of course I want to share this, and hopefully it can go through it. So you can read through his article and get a little more information on this Hyperliquid improvement proposal. Moving on, here we have Overdose _ AI. I'm assuming he's an AI agent, but maybe not. I don't know. I don't know why he's got his name _ AI, but because it doesn't read like AI, but who knows these days, right? So here he says, one of the biggest problems in crypto right now, the altcoin market cap is roughly the same as it was 5 years ago. So here's 5 years ago, our altcoin mint, and it's the same. So the only difference, back then we had 430,000 listed coins. Now we have 31.8 million on CoinGecko. He's using CoinGecko as a reference. That's 70x more tokens fighting for the same exact money. Do you see an issue? I agree with it completely. It's very hard these days to find a token that is going to pump. So I kind of given up on it. Like I don't think about the tokens I have pumping at all. I don't consider this. I don't think about like capital gains on tokens. It's just pointless at this point. The only thing I think about is revenue generation. Do these tokens provide me with a stream of revenue? Does this protocol have users and product market fit? And maybe it's not unique, like there are lots of forks of it, but does this one have utility use? Are people using it, paying fees to use this thing, and are those fees somehow coming to me as a token holder? That's the only thing I care about nowadays. There's no point of trying to pick the winners and try to get pumps. It's just too hard, I think, in my opinion. Now, these 31 million tokens are not altcoins, I would say. I would say there's a lot of meme coins in there, which are technically altcoins, but I think we need a differentiator now. I think we need BTC, Ethereum, and then altcoins would be alternative L1s and L2 governance tokens. And then we have DeFi coins, and then we have shit coins and meme coins, right? Pointlessnesses. So I think that is the differentiator that we should kind of go towards, and maybe there is someone that somewhere that's going to make that differentiation. Okay, moving on. So Peter Schiff, he loves to dunk on Bitcoin and shill his gold, but he's got some interesting. He's written an interesting thing here. Now you can kind of read through his full article. I did not open his article even, but I did read through his tweet, and I did think about it. Okay, so he says PepsiCo spent $2.8 million last year lobbying to keep junk food eligible for food stamps. Then RFK got 18 states to ban SNAP purchases of soda, candy, and processed foods. Within a week, PepsiCo cut Doritos, Lay's, and Doritos prices by 15%. The CEO blamed affordability, but the timing tells the real story. SNAP is a $1 billion a year program. According to the USDA, 20 cents of every SNAP dollar goes to junk food. Frito-Lay products appeared in 7.2% of all SNAP shopping trips. So you can keep reading the rest of it, but it kind of clear what we see here is if the government subsidizes things, it doesn't decrease the price and make those products more affordable for people. It actually hurts the people who are not on these government programs. So if you're not on welfare and you're not on food stamps and you're not on government like support, then you pay more for products because the government supports them. So it's quite clear, like it's clearly the case here. So as soon as they said, you know what, we're no longer going to pay, that the SNAP purchase can no longer buy chips, what do? They lower the price of chips so people will continue to buy them. So how can they lower the price of chips? It's because they're overcharging for those chips. It doesn't cost them that much to make it. It's just a profitable endeavor. So you have two choices. One, you can bitch and complain, or you can buy these companies stocks that are receiving these subsidies. But you have to pay attention. Then you have to, because if those subsidies are on a risk of leaving, then you have to leave your position because that company is going to be less profitable. So I think there's some good investment advice in here, even though he's not really like giving investment advice. He's just kind of laying the news down and talking about what happened. But you can kind of learn from this and use the same thing in all of your endeavors. Like none of crypto is supported by the government for the most part, right? I don't think so. I don't think there's any subsidies going to any crypto projects. However, there are subsidies going to crypto projects from other places, like maybe grants or token emissions or even VCs, right? So you can kind of look for these to kind of decide whether or not you think a project is going to be profitable or not. So anyhow, that's that. Let's move on. Here we have Grow the Pie. Okay, Grow the Pie is great. Okay, so you can check out Grow the Pie. Go to their website. Check out all the ETH stuff, right? It's good stuff. It's good. It's a good dashboard to check out regularly. AI transactions with Ethereum ecosystem in the past 30 days. These are just the ones that we've identified so far. Ethereum mainnet has gained $8,000 in gas fees from these transactions. We expect the number to go up big time. Grow the Pie block space category comparison tool. And then you see a chart here that kind of goes through different chains and how they are, how they're doing for like basically, I guess this is gas paid, right? So you can go through. Base is by far the biggest. Ethereum is second. Arbitrum is, down in quite a bit down. And then everything Below that is down, 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 down. So, but there are AI agents out there doing things. AI is spending money on gas and, going to pump our bags, hopefully. Moving on. This is very important. Okay, very important. Vitalik tweets out a reminder. Ethereum is neutral, but I am not. Okay, so he's a human, and I commend him for his ability to separate his own personal opinions from his decisions on Ethereum. I haven't never seen him do anything in Ethereum, like push for some sort of political or ideological thing on Ethereum because he believes personally in it. Now, there are some cases, of course, where this is the truth. Like it is the fact. Like he believes in credible neutrality. He believes in decentralization. He believes in resilience and censorship resistance. So he pushes Ethereum towards that, right? But I think in this case, he's talking more about like if he decides to donate money to I don't know, wherever, let's just say Gaza or Ukraine or something. If he decides to do that, that's him doing it, not Ethereum or Ethereum Foundation or anything like that. That's just him doing what he wants to do with his personal finances and so forth. So when he sells like a whole bunch of ETH to fund something, that's him doing it. That's not the blockchain doing it, okay? It's not the protocol doing it. So I think that's kind of what he's getting at. I don't know exactly. It's a little bit cryptic, but I think it's a good reminder to remember that he is a human being and he has his own personal biases, and he's going to live by his personal biases. But it doesn't mean he's going to inject his biases into the Ethereum protocol. Okay, moving on. Here we have DeFi Scholar. He says the closest thing to a free Bloomberg trading terminal is in crypto is DeFi Llama, but 99% of the users stop at the homepage TVL and leave. If you aren't digging deeper, you are trading with a blindfold on. Here are 7 features to 10x your research edge. This is a fantastic thread. It is very, very good. Okay, go through it. Read through it. I'm not going to read through all of it because I don't want to spend 20 minutes reading it to you, but it's very good. Okay, it's just like showing you free things you can do to get more information about the tokens you're considering purchasing or farming or keeping or not selling or hunting for or whatever it is. It's DeFi Llama is probably the best thing in crypto. It's probably the best thing in crypto of all things because it's free to use. It has an abundance of information. It's just fantastic. Okay, so check it out. Check out this tweet. I'm going to definitely link this tweet to you, and I would suggest you just read through it. Of course, it might be biased here. He's talking about Uni, right? So maybe he has Uni tokens, but you can still get all kinds of information about all kinds of stuff from this. I would highly suggest you read this if you're listening to this. I will tweet through it. DeFi Llama Tools is great. Okay, moving on. Okay, here we have a tweet by Flying Tulip. I'm biased on this. I did allocate some funds to Flying Tulip, but I do think it is a worthy endeavor. It's worth it in my opinion, and that's why I did it. So it's just a tweet saying Happy New Year, and then a bunch of links to different things that like the docs, the roadmap, the allocation stuff. Yeah, you do you. Check it out. Decide if you want to participate in that, and I get it if you don't want to. Moving on, here we have Quit. Xerox Quit. He's talking about OpenClaw. Let's kind of read what he says. It's embarrassing to be associated with crypto anymore. I don't. Maybe he doesn't want to be. The wording's a little bit off on this, but anyhow, the cyberpunk culture and ideals we once held tight have been downed out by slobbering degenerate meme coin dopamine junkies. I agree with this completely. The vision still exists. Crypto can be more than a glorified casino, but a reputation has taken on irreparable damage. It's going to take more work than ever for builders to overcome the mountain of suspicion that their products are just another scam, not to mention garnering normie attention will require exceptional effort. I don't blame Peter at all for blocking anyone with a sniff of crypto on their profile. The trenches have always been a cancer. I've been saying this for a long time. I've always told people to stay away from meme coins, stop trading meme coins. You're going to get wrecked. It's all insider, it's all MEV, it's terrible, right? And it's quite literally gambling. And then now it's kind of switched over to other things, other forms of gambling, but it's kind of continues to be gambling. So he's retweeting a clip of what's this guy's name again? Lex. He's interviewing the dude from OpenClaw, the founder of OpenClaw, and he was like, I almost deleted my entire code base because crypto is such a degenerate gambling shithole. And there are some blockchains that are worse than others, for sure. There are some ecosystems, there are some communities that are worse than others, and so forth. And you just have to kind of shift through the shit to find those gems, unfortunately. Moving on. Okay, here we have an article by Fu, Bitcoin Panda 69, 10 Habits to Survive the Next 10 Years. So this is a general, this isn't crypto focused. It's kind of just a self-help article. It's a pretty good read. I do agree with everything in here. I'm going to read through the headings, and then you can kind of get in here if you want to read through the bulk of the paragraphs. So health is the highest priority. So, eat well, do exercise, okay? Whole foods, regular exercise every day of some sort. I eat pretty well, and I do Tai Chi and Kung Fu and stuff like this every day. I started doing, body weight exercises with my son. Yeah, you do stuff. Do stuff and eat well. Okay, find and prioritize your purpose in life. This is very hard, okay? It's very hard. Like I'm a wanderer. I like to learn new things. I'm not traditionally educated in finance, but I found crypto and I found it intriguing, and I started learning about it a lot. I find it hard to prioritize your life, your purpose in life. Okay, this is something that's very hard for me. Passion, I find it very hard. So if you're able to do that, that's fantastic. Okay, get organized. Make your bed, so to speak, right? Build and apply consistency to friendships in real life. So don't just ignore your friends and the people who you know in real life, right? Limit social media. So that's what I'm trying to do with this podcast. It might sound counterintuitive, but I have reduced my X time significantly. I removed it from my phone, and now all I do is I do this podcast, and the tweet selection before the podcast, and then I'm pretty much away from X for the rest of the day. And I've never been an Instagram scroller or Facebook scroller or YouTube Shorts scroller, so I've always been able to stay away from that. But this has been very good for me. Be in nature. Yeah, get outside, get some sunlight makes a huge difference in your life. Laugh, so try to be happy. I've even started doing things on a daily basis where I call it's not laughing, what did I call it? It's like I force myself to smile. I just look in the mirror and smile at myself, and I find that just moving my face in the smiling gesture increases the hormones in my mind and makes me kind of laugh a little bit, and it's kind of silly and fun, and I kind of do it. Okay, so journal. So I'm not going to do this, but journaling is a good thing for to collect your thoughts. Read real physical books. Yeah, I go to the library. I have 4 books on my desk right now waiting for me to read. Get paper. It's just better. It just feels better. Okay, and compete. So try to beat people at other things in a friendly manner. Okay, so you can read through his article. I like it. It's very good. Fu, good job. Okay, so here are 8 things you can do during the bear market. So here we have Temi. I don't know who this person is, but he's got Ultrasound Money logo on he's got 41,000 followers. Good. So he's got 8 things you can do during the bear market when you're not liquid. So contribute to projects. Intern your way in, write docs, test nets, report bugs, learn a skill the industry pays for. Content writing, smart contract development, get good on-chain research. So learn how to use Dune dashboards, maybe even make Dune dashboards. Study your mistakes, then move on. So think about the things you did wrong, but don't dwell on them. Don't continue to look back on them, but remember them, okay? Network with like-minded people. So try to talk a little bit more to other people. Post what you learn, not price predictions, not vibes, just clarity. Just write down, share what you've learned, and write your plan and start exploring now. So touch grass too, read something, pick up a hobby. So these are some things to do. Now, he's assuming that you don't need money, right? If you're needing money right now, then you might have to get a job, think about working, and so forth, okay? So anyhow, moving on. Okay, Merkle. Merkle has tweeted out that you can get FXN rewards through Merkle when minting FXUSD on FX protocol. So yeah, that's pretty good. So you basically, they're retweeting, FX protocols. This get paid to borrow. So I do have a video on protocol FX, so FXUSD. Yeah, so you can search for it here, FX protocol, FXUSD. These are loans, okay? These are 0% interest rate loans on Ethereum. You pay upfront fee, and that's it. And then when you want to close, you pay a closing down fee, which is significantly less than the upfront fee. So I think it's at most 0.8%, right? Which is super low, but you pay that. It basically increases your debt when you open the loan. And now they're going to give you reward tokens. They're going to give you actual tokens if you mint. So it'll come through Merkle, so you'll have to claim from Merkle. But yeah, that's fantastic, man. So check that out, of course, especially if you are looking to collateralize your Ethereum. CoffeeZilla, he retweets this. I've forgotten what. Oh, this is basically about Polymarket. He's kind of this guy. Who is this guy? CFTC chairman defending gambling companies like Polymarket Kashish, saying, you can use them to, what does he say here? Americans to hedge commercial risks like increases in temperature and energy price spikes. So yeah, he's like, Polymarket's great. You can use it for hedging your risk on a lot of things, right? But he doesn't talk about the fact that it's a lot of them is degenerate gambling, but not. That's you, right? That's your mentality. It's like saying guns kill people. We shouldn't allow guns, or we should allow guns because guns are for hunting. It's the same debate, right? It's your choice, what you do with your time and what you do with your money in this case. Okay, so I don't believe that we should be like, Polymarket's bad, let's ban Polymarket, or the one I like, Truo or Kashi, or all of these. I don't believe we should ban them, but perhaps some people need a little help so they don't become degenerate gamblers, maybe. But I do think everyone has the ability to control themselves to some extent. You just have to learn to control yourself. Okay, moving on. So here we have EtherX. EtherX is a protocol I don't really use, but I do use Ramses, and they're just showing you that the auto votes are live on EtherX as well. So if you do have EtherX, so XREX, right? You can stake them into these auto votes. They will automatically vote for you, get you the best gain for your voting, spread your votes across lots of pools, and they'll liquidate all the bribes into a single token of your choice. So USDC, or I believe maybe ETH. I'm not sure. I don't use EtherX, so I don't know exactly, but it's worth sharing. If you are using it, go and check it out. Okay, so here we have LeFi. LeFi is basically a bridging protocol. They don't have really a front end. They kind of work with other projects. They kind of support. They kind of provide the bridging infrastructure, and a lot of other projects just kind of integrate that infrastructure into their front ends. But now they're talking about like one click to move between things. So it's just an idea. Like this is not brand new stuff, but it's kind of standardized now. If your bridge doesn't do this, then you need to consider if you're using the right bridge or not, because it's like basically what it's talking about is moving from one like yield farm into another yield farm on another chain. So maybe withdrawing from a vault on Arbitrum, sending the assets to Base, and depositing those assets into a vault on the other chain, all with one click. This kind of needs to happen, and it helps a lot, and it feels good. But I always suggest you, if you're gonna do that, double check it. You know, if you're gonna like do this kind of jumping through things, you should probably double check, especially like if it's like $100 or something like that, then just do it, right? But if it's like 10,000 or 20 or 50 or $100,000, you best check, you know, double check, because the routing you might be losing significant money in the routing. You might, okay? So double check things. Okay, moving on. Okay, here we have Vaso Crypto. Yeah, so this is a talk about, he's like, MetaMask is the most downloaded crypto wallet, yet when you search for popular apps, it gives you random scam token contract addresses instead of the actual site. So basically he's showing in MetaMask, he's searching for Polymarket, and he's getting like just some shit coins and stuff like this, okay? But if you go to what 0x Not Gonna Make It, who is basically a DeFi llama, they built this thing a little while ago. It's called search.defilama.com, and it basically upgrades your Chrome browser. So whenever you open a new tab, so I'll even show you. So if I open a tab, you see Llama search right here, and then if I put Poly Market, then it'll send me directly to Polymarket. This is not a Google search. Down here is the Google search. This is an actual like vetted link to Polymarket, and this is a Polymarket price check polymorphs on DeFi Llama. So these are NFTs that are similar, because I didn't put Polymarket, I put Polymum, right? So if I do Polymarket, then I'm only getting the link to here, and I could click that, and it's going to send me to Polymarket. So it's a little safer. Okay, so I would highly suggest you add that to your browser. Okay. Moving on, I got one more tweet for you. Milk Road. What is this again about? Okay, so it's about AI. Okay, and one of the things he's basically blah 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 blah, all about AI stuff. But the one key takeaway is what Elon Musk is saying on this podcast. He's being interviewed about AI, and he's basically says one thing. So he's basically, AI is like, it's still digital. Like there are robots. You've seen some robots in China yesterday, the dancing kung fu robots, right? Robots are coming, but right now AI is mostly just replacing digital stuff. So computer input, computer design, any kind of thing where you're sitting at a computer all day, just filling it with like information or designing or moving things around digitally. But actual physical movement is probably the best kind of jobs. So like I'm always thinking with my son, I'm like, well, what kind of jobs do you think are good right now? Blah, blah, blah. And like I'm like, coding, stay away from it. Coding's toast. If you want to be a coder, you're basically signing up for unemployment, right? In my opinion, like AI, you can already vibe code like crazy now, and think about what it's going to be like in 5 years, when the AI coding bots are just phenomenal. So yeah, so don't be a coder. Don't be like, even like something like writing can probably be replaced. Maybe it's a weird one, because AI is not very good at creativity, whereas humans have creativity, so they can write shit that like blows your mind, right? But writing like emails, or just like writing articles that explain things, like it's toast. Even my job is probably toast. Like what I'm doing right now is probably going to be replaced. Mind you, I'm human. People know I'm human, so they might listen for my human opinions, right? But AI can fully like just wipe out all the other stuff like explainers, TLDRs. This kind of stuff is toast. But what he's saying is if you want to like jobs that will last longer are physical jobs. So jobs where he quite literally says physically moving atoms. So if you are like picking up something from here and putting it over there, the robots aren't going to be able to do that quite as well. Now, he's not talking about like moving stuff in a warehouse, right? Because robots are already doing this. But like actually like, a good example he gives is like an electrical wiring. So if you're actually feeding wires through like support beams or wall beams and stuff like that, and setting up electrical outlet boxes and stuff like that, the AI is not going to quite take that over for a little while, so you're a little bit more safer. So that's what he's saying basically. Especially if you're in the point right now where you're trying to consider what kind of career you want to get into, you should think a little bit about this as well. Like even he says cooking, maybe robots can cook things. Like you can definitely go to Chipotle and get your meal like pumped into like a bowl through like a conveyor belt, right? You can get this, right? But would you rather eat that, or would you rather go to some Japanese noodle guy who like all he does all day long is make noodle soup? Like, yeah. So anyhow, think about that, and maybe the best thing to do is to just kind of like support AI, think about AI, think about the factors they're going to take, and try to figure out how can you make money off of the AI without heavy speculation. Okay. So anyhow, that's it for today. I hope this has been useful and interesting. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.